Hi, on this edition of Simple Meals with Dave, today I'm going to do some beef enchiladas. But first, I'm going to brown the meat. Okay, I have a teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of cominos. I have a half a teaspoon of pepper and 1 teaspoon of salt. And I'm just going to use this just to brown the meat. And I'm also going to add 2 teaspoons of chili powder. This is going to be the meat I'm going to use to make the enchiladas. So I'm just going to brown it. After I brown it, I'm going to strain it. And then I'm going to make the enchilada sauce. So it's going to take a few minutes for us to get this meat going. I cook it like on a medium high. I don't like to cook on high unless I'm boiling something. And once you get it going, especially when you put the spices in there, anytime you put salt and ground meat, it breaks up the grease and it makes it easier to work with. Okay, the meat is almost ready. I'm just going to stir it up a little bit, make sure that it's all cooked. It looks all cooked, it looks really good. Okay, our meat is ready. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to transfer it to this bowl. Let's turn the power off now. I'm going to transfer it to the bowl. All right, so got all the ground beef out. I'm gonna move this to the side. And we got our meat ready for enchiladas. Our next item that we're gonna make is we're gonna make some enchilada sauce, okay? So the enchilada sauce, I'm gonna put my stove about medium. It's going to be 1 cup of oil. I have a half a cup of chili powder, half a cup of mayonnaise. I have 2 teaspoons of chicken base, 1 teaspoon of cominos, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, and 8 ounces of tomato sauce. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I got the pan on and I'm going to put my oil in here. Okay, that's the first thing I'm going to do. And you're going to have to wait a couple of minutes, let the oil get hot. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put the chili powder and I'm going to put the flour in the oil. Okay, and then I'm going to mix those together. Okay. And this will thicken up. Okay. Once you add those, once you put them in there, add them together, and then this will thicken up. Okay, then I'm gonna add my tomato sauce. Okay, 1 cup of tomato sauce, and all the rest of the stuff is the flavor. I got the garlic powder. I got the chicken base, and then I got the cominos. Okay, so if you notice, it's getting thick. Okay, so it's going to thicken like that. And now the way you thin it down, you want to thin it down, but you need to add hot water. Like I said, if you put cold water in here and you thin it down with cold water and you stir it up, it'll get watered down. And it'll never thicken up unless you keep adding to it. Okay, so once I got everything mixed together, I'm gonna turn my temperature down a little bit. And you can still see it getting thick. See how thick it is? And then you want to just keep adding some water to it. I mean, you're looking at maybe about 2 cups of water. This is just a small batch of enchilada sauce. Enough to make probably about a dozen enchiladas. Okay, and then after you add, you can see it's still thick. Then you can just keep adding water to it. Kind of thin it down a little bit. I'm gonna turn my temperature off because I think it's a good consistency right now. So you don't want it to be too watery, because if it's too watery, it's gonna run. It's not gonna coat your enchiladas. And like I said, the trick to this is to make sure you're using hot water. Okay, and right there, that's probably perfect. Good to go right there. Okay, now we're ready to make some enchiladas. Okay, I have the ground meat. So what I want to do to the ground meat is I'm going to add like 2 cups of American cheese, shredded American cheese. This is not what you'll see in an authentic Mexican home. So I'm going to mix the cheese into the meat. Okay, the meat is still hot from when I cooked it, and it's going to melt the cheese. Okay, so we got that ready. Now when I make enchiladas, I like to use white corn tortillas. Okay, now I have some cheddar cheese. Now my mild cheddar cheese is to top the enchiladas. Okay, so I like to use a white corn. So I'm gonna make a couple of cheese enchiladas, and then I'm gonna make a couple of beef enchiladas. So is what I do is I like to put them in the oil. Now I'm just gonna dip them just to soften them up. Okay. I soften them up in a little bit of oil. That way, when I roll them, they don't crack. So I'm just gonna dip this in here. Then I'm gonna put them in the oven. Right now I have the oven set at 400 degrees. So I'll put some meat in there. Kind of spread it evenly. And then I'm just gonna roll that one. Okay, now I'm gonna put some sauce on them. All right, then I'm gonna put them in the oven. Put some cheese on top. Put some cheese on top of these. And I'm gonna put them in the oven for about 4 minutes. Okay, the 4 minutes is up, so I'm gonna take the enchiladas out. And this is the way, if you ever wonder how restaurants do it, a lot of them do it just like this. You got 2 beef enchiladas. And then we got 2 cheese enchiladas. Now, of course, they do take this and transfer it to a plate that's not real hot. So this is how easy it is to cook these at home. It was not hard at all. You just got to make sure you have it planned out of how you want to do it. These, like I said, the white corn, look at that cheese, looks good. And of course, the beef enchiladas. Now it's gonna be hot. I'm gonna try it, but it's gonna be hot, so hopefully I won't burn my mouth. But came out real good. So tune into our next episode of Simple Meals with Dave to see how we can help you out in the kitchen. Now I'm gonna sauce it.
Do 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 do. Do 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 do.
People that watch it will be like, "Oh, that's how he does it. That's how I do it."